Welcome to this lesson on rhetorical devices. Every time someone tries to persuade you, whether it is an advertisement, a speech, an editorial, or even a social media post, they are using rhetorical devices. These are techniques that writers and speakers use to influence how you think and feel. In this lesson, we are not going to analyze them deeply. We are going to focus on recognizing them. If you can spot the device, you can understand how the writer is trying to influence you. That is a powerful reading skill. Here is what we will cover. We will start with what rhetorical devices are and why writers use them. Then we will learn to identify 5 common devices: metaphor, repetition, rhetorical questions, appeal to authority, and emotive language. For each one, we will look at how it works to persuade a reader. The focus here is on recognition. You need to be able to spot these devices when you see them in a text. Once you can recognize them, you understand the writer's toolkit, and that makes you a much stronger reader. So, what exactly are rhetorical devices? They are techniques that writers and speakers use to make their message more persuasive, memorable, or impactful. They work by appealing to different parts of how we process information. Some appeal to logic, like presenting expert evidence, or reasoning to build credibility. Some appeal to emotion, making the reader feel something strongly, which is what metaphor and emotive language do. And some appeal to rhythm, making the message stick in your mind through repetition, or by posing questions that make you think. Most persuasive texts use a combination of these approaches. Your job is to recognize which devices are being used. Let us go through the 5 devices one by one. First, metaphor. This is when you describe something as if it is something else. The economy is a sinking ship. The economy is not literally a ship, but the image creates feelings of danger and urgency. Second, repetition. Repeating a word or phrase for emphasis. We need change, real change, lasting change. The word change is hammered home until it sticks. Third, rhetorical questions. A question with an obvious answer asked for effect. How long can we afford to ignore this problem? The writer is not really asking. They are making you agree that we cannot afford to ignore it. Fourth, appeal to authority. Citing an expert or respected source to borrow their credibility. And fifth, emotive language. Words deliberately chosen to trigger an emotional response, bypassing logic and going straight to feelings. Let us spot devices in everyday writing. This is an advertisement. Every morning, millions of Australians trust us. Every morning they choose quality. Every morning they choose us. Isn't it time you did too? Can you spot the devices? The phrase every morning is repeated 3 times. That is repetition, and it creates a rhythm that makes the message feel inevitable. Then the rhetorical question at the end. Isn't it time you did too? The expected answer is obviously yes. The writer is not really asking. They are nudging you towards a decision. There is also a subtle appeal to authority through numbers. Millions of Australians suggests that popular opinion validates the product. If millions of people trust it, you should too. That is 3 devices in just 4 sentences. Here is an editorial about urban parks. Our parks are the lungs of the city. Without them, our communities suffocate. Leading urban planners have argued that green spaces are essential. Yet the council continues to approve developments that destroy what little green space remains. 3 devices here. First, metaphor. Parks are the lungs of the city. Parks are not literally lungs, but the comparison creates an image of something vital for survival. If the lungs stop working, you die. That is the emotional weight the metaphor carries. Second, emotive language. The words suffocate and destroy are deliberately intense. The writer could have said decline or reduce, but those are calm words. Suffocate and destroy trigger strong negative feelings. Third, appeal to authority. Leading urban planners gives the argument expert credibility. It is not just the writer's opinion. Experts agree. Here is a speech that uses almost all 5 devices at once. We stand at a crossroads. That is a metaphor. Life is not literally a road, but the image of a crossroad suggests a critical moment of decision. We can choose is repeated 4 times. That repetition builds momentum and rhythm. The words indifference and courage are emotive language. They are not neutral descriptions. Indifference is negative, courage is positive. The speaker is loading the dice. And the passage ends with a rhetorical question. Which future will you choose? The expected answer is obvious. You should choose courage and action. The only device not present here is appeal to authority, but 4 out of 5 in one short passage shows how writers layer devices together for maximum impact. Now, try these yourself. Pause and identify the device in each one. Question 1. Do we really want to live in a society where profit matters more than people? This is a rhetorical question. The expected answer is clearly no. There is also emotive language in profit matters more than people, which is a loaded way to frame the issue. Question 2. As Professor Nguyen, who has studied this area for over 20 years, explains, this is an appeal to authority. The writer is borrowing credibility from an expert by emphasizing their qualifications and experience. 20 years makes the professor sound very credible. Question 3. The internet is a double-edged sword, cutting through barriers while slicing away at attention spans. This is a metaphor. The internet is not literally a sword, but the image of cutting creates a vivid picture of both benefits and harms. Let us recap. Rhetorical devices are techniques used to persuade, engage, or influence a reader. We covered 5. Metaphor describes something as something else, creating vivid imagery. Repetition hammers home a message by repeating words or phrases. Rhetorical questions make the reader agree without realizing it by posing questions with assumed answers. Appeal to authority borrows credibility from experts or respected sources. And emotive language bypasses logic and targets feelings directly. Remember that writers often layer multiple devices together in the same passage. The key skill is recognition. Once you can name the device, you understand how the writer is trying to influence you, and you can evaluate the argument much more critically.